It's ghoulish. That's the only word that can explain Prince Harry and Meghan Markle sharing a private picture of their so-called private children, Archie and Lily, on their so-called private vigil to lay flowers at Princess Diana's grave for the first time. No wonder there is now international revulsion.
Now, we know that Princess Diana she's been gone for nearly 30 years now, yet her memory remains one of the most cherished legacies in modern history.
This really tells 1,000 words, doesn't it? This is, of course, a picture of Princess Lilibet. That is, of course, Harry's daughter.
You too are insane and ghoulish. You too have no respect for Princess Diana's resting place. And also all of us who have to put up with your constant briefings about privacy. And then you post the most intimate photos that we have never seen of members of the royal family unless they've been taken by paparazzi.
Imagine turning your back on your living father, ignoring his calls, blocking him out, keeping your kids away from him because he doesn't fit your polished image. Now imagine taking a crew of high-end photographers to the grave of a woman who's been dead for 30 years, posing, styling, and filming every single frame for a massive paycheck. Sounds unreal?
The shot of Althorp is just, it kind of makes your stomach turn a little bit. I mean, obviously there are people in my family who are no longer with us, and I do go visit their graves, and I might take a photo of the gravestone, but I don't know. No, you don't do like the family outing to go see the grave on private property. Not to mention, I think it's really interesting that, Diana's brother, the Earl, had said no cameras. And by that, he meant no camera crews, but he clearly didn't mean a camera phone.
Well, it just happened. Meghan Markle just pulled off what experts are calling the most calculated publicity stunt in royal history. But this time, she went too far. Prince William has officially broken his silence, and what he just exposed changes everything. Let's look at the brutal contrast here. On one side, you have Thomas Markle, her biological father. He's aging, his health is failing, and all he's asked for is a simple text or a chance to meet his grandkids.
It's the Althorp image, of course, though, which has particularly disgusted royal watchers. That is because we know that Prince William's strongly held and deeply passionate view is that this site must remain sacred. Hands posted just when you think Meghan can't be any more despicable, she goes ahead and proves us wrong. Who shares pics of a private moment that looks like they're visiting Diana's gravesite? There's Harry and Archie carrying flowers. Have some respect and keep it private. Disgusting, no shame. Over this decision to go public with the most intimate details of their summer family holiday to once again hit back, and as Piers Morgan put it, in one word, privacy. Yeah, right.
But to Meghan, he's invisible. He's not rich, he's not elite, and he doesn't fit the Hollywood narrative. On the other side, you have Princess Diana, resting peacefully at Althorp for 3 decades. Suddenly, Meghan can't wait to pay her respects. But this wasn't a private family moment. This was a full-scale media production. We're talking hired camera crews, professional lighting, perfect camera angles, and high-fashion outfits.
Then went on to report that they did believe this to be Althorp, with their diary editor Richard Eden writing, "It is understood to have been taken as they made their way to lay flowers at the grave of Princess Diana." And of course, within hours, predictably, confirmation from their propagandists at People magazine, who tried to paint this as some type of beautiful moment, but within it confirmed that it was indeed Althorp. The photo, and just to clarify in case you don't realise, Harry and Meghan briefed directly to People magazine, so this has come from their team. And People reports one image shows Harry, Archie and Lily from behind as they walk down a grassy path lined with trees and hedges. The photo is believed to have been taken at Althorp, the Spencer family's ancestral estate where Diana grew up.
Charles Spencer, Diana's own brother, saw the footage and didn't hold back. His exact words, "This was purely for publicity." And when Prince William saw it, the man who actually walked behind his mother's coffin at 15 years old, He didn't offer a diplomatic, polite response. He validated his uncle's statement instantly. William confirmed what millions were already thinking. It was a complete, manufactured sham.
I mean, obviously, there are people in my family who are no longer with us, and I do go visit their graves, and I might take a photo of the gravestone, but I don't know. No, you don't do like the family outing to go see the grave on private property. Not to mention, I think it's really interesting that, Diana's brother, the Earl, had said no cameras. And by that, he meant no camera crews, but he clearly didn't mean a camera phone, which means, of course, when they went over to the island, there was obviously a camera phone with them. Is there photos? Are there videos? We've all heard talk of the Diana documentary.
For 5 long years, Harry and Meghan have hammered one single message into our heads. We want privacy. We need to protect our children. The media is dangerous. We got Netflix series, tell-all books, and endless podcast episodes, all complaining about the invasion of their personal lives. So, how do you go from preaching about privacy to orchestrating a photo shoot at a sacred burial ground? You can't claim media trauma on Monday and then turn a family grave into a commercial set on Tuesday. It proves what critics have said all along. The outrage was never about privacy. It was about control. It was about controlling who gets to profit off their story.
Of course, you don't have that luxury with Meghan and Harry's children because, quite frankly, they're always pictured from the back. This is apparently protecting their privacy, but it's not really protecting their privacy, is it? Because ultimately, you have these children now on numerous pictures on social media, yet they keep going up and telling you that this is a terrible thing and we've got to protect our children. How about starting at home? So what's the true story about this particular brand new drama inside the land of Montecito? But at the time, I told you I'd spoken to a higher source inside the Netflix camp. This was, of course, when Netflix were very keen on Meghan and Harry. And they quite liked Meghan and Harry at this time because obviously they'd had a big hit with their docuseries where they trashed his family, not hers. And ultimately they were deciding what they could do next. Where this gets really interesting is, as we can see, Harry did manage now to finally bring his children to see his late mother's grave. A very emotional thing for any parent. Not easy, of course.
The moment a multi-million-dollar deal was put on the table, all those strict boundaries completely vanished. This wasn't an emotional, spontaneous moment captured on an iPhone. To pull off a photo shoot at Althorp, you need high-level security clearances. You need estate approvals, you need advanced planning, scheduled time slots, and a full team of professionals. Every pose was practiced. Every angle was directed. Multiple body language experts analyzed the photos, and the verdict was unanimous, 100% staged. Not a single candid frame exists in that entire set. She didn't go to Althorp as a grieving daughter-in-law. She went as an executive producer delivering content for a streaming platform.
That can also, I think, go in a direction that is morally just wrong. Now, we know that Princess Diana she's been gone for nearly 30 years now, yet her memory remains one of the most cherished legacies in modern history. Millions of people, including myself, still remember exactly where they were when they heard the news about Diana's passing. But lately, I've started asking myself a very difficult question. At what point do you stop honoring Diana and you start using her? Because that is exactly how some of Meghan Markle's social media posts have been looking like lately. It's been part of Meghan's whole brand since she, I think, became into contact with Harry.
Why do all of this? Why risk the royal backlash? Follow the money. Netflix is currently developing a massive 30th anniversary documentary on Princess Diana. They don't just want old archival footage, they want original, high-definition, dramatic content. And Meghan had the one thing Netflix couldn't buy on their own: physical access to Diana's final resting place. Reports indicate a staggering $7 million deal tied to this exclusive footage.
That Harry is thinking of doing next year for the 30th anniversary of her death, which is also incredibly ghoulish. And we also know that the Netflix Harry and Meghan doc had a bunch of their home videos, and by that I mean their phone videos on them. So this would likely be appearing there.
Yeah, I mean, I've said for some time, Paula, that I think the pictures that they need to secure for the documentary next year do not actually have to be filmed by a camera crew. Because, of course, one of the main reasons why Netflix was so happy with the Harry and Meghan documentary, which, remember, was a hit. It's the only show that has been a hit as part of their Netflix package, was because Harry and Meghan had to, and it was for the big paycheck, not 100 mil, but still a very big paycheck, had to guarantee that they were going to open up their personal photo album. And we saw a lot as a result. Remember, there were the videos on the Freedom Flight, and there were the videos even on the night of the engagement. All of them were included in the documentary. So my contention is that all of these photos and videos for the documentary will have been taken personally by Harry and Meghan, which they believe gives them some type of out in terms of, oh no, well, we weren't really commercializing the visit. These were our own personal memories, and we've just decided to share them.
Think about that. She didn't just visit the grave, she monetized it. She turned a sacred memorial into a lucrative digital asset. This goes deeper than just money. It's part of a disturbing long-term pattern. Psychologists and royal commentators have pointed out Meghan's relentless obsession with Diana for years. From copying her iconic outfits down to the exact fabric, to recreating her famous poses, to constantly invoking her name in media appearances, this grave visit wasn't a sudden idea. It was the ultimate climax of a years-long identity copy-paste.
Actually, a lot of people believe, and you seem to suggested it, that this was her purposefully cosplaying Princess Diana. So Stephanie Sidley, for example, writing, Meghan Markle is wearing the same cut swimsuit Princess Diana was famous for. The Royal Grift describing it as absolutely mental, and Meghan's moles saying that it's psycho stalker behavior. Again, Paula, if this were a one-off, you'd probably give the person benefit of the doubt, right? But given this is now like such a trend, I do believe it's purposeful. Do you?
Of course. Of course it is. We could go through the last, 8-10 years of all the outfits she's copied of Diana's. And, it's actually quite, what's the word? Oedipal and weird. It's almost as if she's trying to remind Harry, I'm mummy. And remember, you married the woman.
I'm still in her perfume.
Yes, exactly. I'm the woman that your mother sent you to marry. I'm embodying her spirit. It's all just
so wrong.
Kind of spooky.
Even sources close to Harry hint that even he is growing uncomfortable with how far this dynamic has been pushed. If they thought the royal family would stay quiet and sweep this under the rug like usual, they guessed wrong. King Charles and Prince William are taking direct action behind closed doors. Palace legal teams are stepped in. The message being sent to Netflix is crystal clear. If this grave footage is used in your documentary, the consequences won't just be harsh, they will be permanent.
Look, it's a relationship of convenience for both sides, though, because
absolutely,
Charles Spencer is certainly not close with Prince William. And so it's also an opportunity to get one over Prince William. It suits Harry. So, look, I don't want to go into it today, but, Charles Spencer, not a good guy. Do you know what I mean? So like,
no, just ask any of the women in his life besides his current wife.
Yeah. Exactly. So it sort of suits them both to have this friendship, I guess, or relationship of convenience.
We are talking about the formal process of stripping their remaining royal titles. The $7 million payday, it's suddenly on ice. Netflix is delaying the project, terrified of the massive legal and public relations fallout. For the first time in years, the Sussexes are realizing that institutional power has hard boundaries. At the end of the day, this isn't just about celebrity drama. It's a reflection of where we draw the line as a culture. Is everything for sale? Is there nothing left in this world that remains sacred?
Harry's to one side. Third child, Harry's to one side. I mean, by then, the rift had actually happened. But I don't think Meghan realised, she's from the US. the royals are almost a bit like the land of celebrity to them.
Yeah.
We have very, very strict protocols in this country, and I don't think she realised how far she'd be sidelined, and that she may not be speaking at a UN conference in Geneva. She might actually be opening a community centre in Scunthorpe. All respect to Scunthorpe, of course. But I think that led to a certain instability in the marriage, and that hasn't helped Harry either.
Most definitely. And just to conclude this conversation about where Harry is at, I think that, we can debate all day long how bright he is. I'd actually invite our viewers on a scale of 1 to 10, how bright is Harry? Let me know. Be honest about that. My greater concern is not his intellect, but it is his mental state. I think that he's well known to get very down. You mentioned therapy, and perhaps he needs a bit more of that.
When you discard your living family for being too ordinary, but exploit your deceased mother-in-law because she's profitable, a line gets crossed. William stood up to protect his mother's dignity. Charles is enforcing real consequences. The curtain has been pulled back, and no amount of PR spinning can fix what's been revealed. The grand narrative is falling apart, and the money trail has finally caught up with them. But what do you think? Will Netflix actually scrap the documentary, or will money win again in the end? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the video on your screen right now for the next breakdown.